Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final episode in the world of Shirley. The story has taken many turns, some grand, some rather plain. Or as Charlotte Brontë herself puts it, you expected bread, and you have got a stone. Break your teeth on it, and don't shriek because the nerves are martyrized. If you've missed any part of the journey, links to the previous episodes await you in the description box below. The skies were inking heavily, setting the aura for the brightest stars to dance joyfully across the nightly canvas. Eastwards, lamps were blown out one by one as children and their guardians took the last bite of supper. Somewhere in a dilapidated cottage, a mother was tending to her only ailing child for its final sleep, before the doors of heavenly light opened for it, far from the ruins, away from the motherly embrace. Westwards, Mr. York and Robert Moore were on their way home, burdened by Robert's apparent fall from Shirley's eyes.
Do me a favor, if you please. Never show me your face unless things are settled in the future.
These were Shirley's parting words, which had ripped through Robert's heart. They rode in silence, ruminating on the failure, when suddenly a gunshot rang out and struck Robert near the heart. He fell from his horse and lost consciousness. Mr. York, gripped with fear, jumped down from his horse. The father in him guided him to carry the fallen man immediately on his own horse and rush to the Grand Briarmains Manor. There, Robert lay frail and fading, tended by a surgeon, a nurse, and the overprotective Mr. York and his family. News arrived from far and wide. Louis fell under a spell of stress, as Robert, his only brother, had been struck and now seemed to hover near the final throes of death. Shirley, too, felt a sisterly affection toward Robert and, deep down, regretted her final parting words. But she masked her feelings and resolved to remain an ironclad friend to Louis in these tough times. Their shared insistence on returning Robert to the Moore house was, however, rejected by Mr. York.
The poor brother must not be refused a chance. But Shirley must be avoided at all costs. The pain must not be renewed,
thought Mr. York. Also, the gunshot had struck Robert in his presence, and he felt the utmost responsibility to care for him even more than Robert's own family. Shirley stepped back from the doors without a word. Louis, somewhat surprised but ignoring the feeling, agreed instead to visit Robert daily at Mr. York's place and discuss his condition with Shirley, who would not leave Caroline's side until Robert recovered. A flock of people gathered at Briarmains from time to time. They were aghast at the sight of Robert, who, in his slow recovery, with little appetite and diminished hope, had lost much of his handsome features. With time and consultation with Louis, Robert no longer despaired over his failing business. He resolved to go to the Americas with Louis and Hortense to start life anew, should he lose everything in Yorkshire. But a sense of emptiness lingered, one only his dear cousin Caroline could fill. She came to visit him at last, with great difficulty, hiding from the protective eyes of Mr. York's family, who considered her too young and fragile to witness sorrow. She was shocked to see Robert's altered appearance, cried her heart out, and rushed into his embrace without a second thought. They confided in each other, sharing what they had endured during their long separation, and apologized for being absent in each other's time of need. Once Robert recovered well, he promptly returned to Hollow's Mill to oversee the pending work. Somehow, he had learned to respect his workers and decided to pay them their dues in advance even if it left him with nothing. During the time every care was devoted to Robert, Shirley politely refused Sir Nunnally's offer and confronted her uncle on the matter. She openly argued that Louis Moore was far superior to Sir Nunnally, who might be wealthy and cultured, but could never manage her wild temperament. In frustration, Uncle Simpson and his family decided to sever all ties with Shirley, fearing her stubborn nature might negatively influence their children.
Louis!
He shouted. Louis came in haste but remained composed.
Yes, Mr. Simpson, how may I help you?
You are dismissed, man. Look for some other place suitable for a servant as lowly as yourself,
said the uncle. Louis was about to thank him for past kindness before departing, but Shirley cut him short.
Mr. Simpson, there is no man born superior to Mr. Louis in this entire county or any place I've ever visited. I will not allow your insult. Kindly pack your luggage and leave as soon as possible,
she retorted angrily, without a hint of hesitation in her tone. Louis looked amazed. He wanted to calm her down but held back.
We will leave tomorrow after having breakfast for the last time at your place. God bless your choice,
retorted Uncle Simpson, glaring at Shirley. On the day of their departure, as Shirley wept bitterly, Louis boldly entered her room. Shirley grew nervous and was about to leave when Louis held her arms and gently made her sit on the chair nearby. Before leaving for good, he had come to confess his long-harbored love for her, but at the same time, suggested that the match was unequal and might harm her reputation, given his inferior status.
Goodbye, Shirley. I wish you a life full of love and happiness with Sir Nunley,
said Louis, and turned to leave. Shirley, for the first time, held his hand firmly, looked him straight in the eye, and burst out.
Yes. I lied yesterday when I said you were the most superior person to ever cross my path. I was wrong to exchange letters with you as your student. It was foolish of me to study under you and be labeled by others as the most educated young lady. Leave me more. Leave me to the stately baronet who is too naive to handle my temper, or to my greedy acquaintances, or better yet, to the devilish priest Mr. Malone who still pines for my estate. Leave for the Americas with your brother, marry a woman as lowly as yourself, do anything you want, but leave this uncontrollable lady to be exploited by the world.
Shirley panted and cried as loudly as a child of 5 sent away from her guardian. Louis embraced her firmly and declared,
Shirley, you are mine.
She finally relented, and they both agreed on a mutual marriage built on deep faith and inner strength. Arm in arm, they went to bid farewell to Uncle Simpson and his family, who looked at Louis with disdain and departed in anger. After much haggling and a spirited fear of surrendering her freedom, Shirley finally settled on a date for her wedding to Louis. The unexpected announcement stirred a quiet joy among their friends, pleasantly surprised, yet deep down, they had always known, there could be no true union of equals. On the wedding day, Caroline was to be the bridesmaid, but destiny had other plans. She was about to get ready when Robert appeared, held her gently, and confessed his love, saying he was finally ready for marriage now that the business had begun to thrive and they had the support of Shirley and Louis. He also offered to keep Caroline's mother in their Hollows Mill house, in a snug little room, just as her shy temperament preferred. 3 decades have passed since those long-closed events, and so the story ends with incomplete harmony. Due to loopholes in the law, the perpetrators were caught and released. The 3 clerical friends went their separate ways, ending their shallow friendship. Robert became an ideal master at the mill. There were no more riots. The business flourished, and Robert continued to relish the meals lovingly prepared by his dear wife, Caroline. They came to be regarded as the most striking couple of their time. The little dilapidated cottage to the east stands deserted, yet now and then, a distant passerby swears they hear the faint echo of a mother's lullaby, as if still tending her ailing child from beyond the veil of time. But even with its imperfect ending, Our ladies stand tall and graceful, proud of the paths they have taken and how life has unfolded. Among them, Shirley remains the grandest of all, only to be gently checked by Louis, who, through his great intellect and sound judgment, attains the position of magistrate.